What in French? How to translate this word what with FrenchSpanishOnline.com? It's an interesting question because what can be in French translated by que, quoi, quel, comment, ce que, ce qui, ce dont, etc. So we're going to see how to choose the correct word. First, when what is in a question and what is not the subject of the verb, in this case we will use in French que or quoi. Que at the beginning of the question and quoi at the end. What did you say? So here the subject of say is you, not what. So we will use que or quoi. The translation is qu'a-t-il dit? Qu'est-ce qu'il a dit for the qu'est-ce que question, or an informal way, il a dit quoi? Okay? So now what is the subject of the question? In this case we use the expression qu'est-ce qui. What's wrong? Here the subject of is what. The same thing to say he is wrong. Here we have what's wrong. So to translate what, we will use qu'est-ce qui ne va pas. Another example, what has happened? So the same thing here. The subject of has happened is what. So we will use qu'est-ce qui est arrivé. Here we can also say il est arrivé quoi? When what is following by a noun, we will use in French quel or quelle with two le depending on the gender of the noun, or even an s if it's plural. So what time is it? Here we have this construction, what following by a noun, the noun time. Time in French is feminine, so quelle heure est-il? What about boy? The same thing. What following by boy? Boy is masculine, of course, in French, so quel méchant garçon. And finally, what a pity, quel dommage. Now, what is a relative pronoun? What is not the subject? We will use ce que. So to translate, I know what you want. So it's not a question, I know what you want. Want here have a subject, it's you, so not what. We will use ce que. Je sais ce que tu veux. So we don't say je sais que tu veux. Que it's only for question. Je sais ce que tu veux. Another example, I want what you have. So the same thing here. What is not the subject? Je veux ce que tu as. Now what is the subject? In this case we will use ce qui. I know what has happened. So the subject of has happened is what. So we will use ce qui to say je sais ce qui s'est passé. The same thing here. What is important in life? So what is the subject of the verb to be? It's not a question, so we will say ce qui est important dans la vie, etc. Some prepositional verbs now. For example, here to translate what, something, of. We say in French ce dont. What I remember of is a big house. Ce dont je me souviens, c'est une grande maison. So why ce dont? Because ce dont is like a contraction of ce que and de. Because I remember of in French is je me souviens de. And this preposition appears here in the word dont. The same thing for what I'm proud of, ce dont je suis fier. Because I'm proud of in French is je suis fier de, with the same preposition de. Don't mix of here with other words like from or some that can be translated by de in French too. In this case it doesn't work. Prepositional verbs, so some questions. To talk about in French is parler de. So how to translate what are you talking about? So in French we say about what are you talking? So we will say de quoi tu parles. The same thing for to think about. In French is penser à. So how can we translate what are you thinking about? In French we will say à quoi penses-tu? What is, so when what is following by the verb to be, we say quel est or quelle est, depending on the gender of the noun, of the following noun. For example here, what is the problem? In French is quel est le problème? What is your brother like? So here, the same thing, how to translate what, something like in French. So, what is comment in this case? Comment est ton frère? So, because here we need a description, so is comment est with the verb to be. So don't forget that comment va ton frère is how is your brother, how is your brother. And here we have what is your brother like. So the translation is comment est ton frère. To translate what else, we say quoi d'autre, quoi encore. I don't know what else, so et que sais-je encore. What if is et si. What if we go to the cinema? Et si nous allions au cinéma? C'est fini. Now, there is a quiz for you. So go to FrenchSpanishOnline.com/magazine this page and you will see the whole lesson, the script, the text of the lesson, and a quiz to be sure that you now know how to translate what in French. Bye bye. Au revoir.